Shalom. Everybody's doing good. I was just sitting here looking over some study notes that I've had for some time on tithing, and I'm not going to go into a lot. Just going to put it to you in a nutshell. You know, the pastors in the church, they tell us that we're not under the Old Testament, that we don't have to keep the law, that Jesus did it for us. And they call ourselves New Testament Christians, and I ain't figured that one out yet. But when it comes to the tithe, they want that tithe. They want you to give that 10% because they need to have money to buy the nice cars, to have the nice homes, and to live a little bit high above the standard of what the ordinary people in their congregation live. They like to be up here and they want you down here because they think they're somebody special, but they're not. The tithe, that 10%. If on their own terms, in their own backyard, if we are a New Testament church, that's what they tell everybody, that we are a New Testament church. New Testament believer. Well, nowhere in the New Testament do you find a command to give 10%. That's right. I mean, I can go a little bit deeper than that, but not going to do it tonight. If you want to give to the Father, if Yeshua, Jesus said, "What you've done unto the least of these, you've done it unto me." You give to the poor. You feed the hungry. You clothe the naked. You help the homeless and the widows and orphans. Church ain't doing that. They got a building fund. Oh, we got money in the building fund because we want to build a fellowship hall with a big kitchen in it. Because they like to eat. Rather than feeding their souls, they feed their gut. Hypocrisy, what it is. What would happen? What would happen if you stood up and said, "Pastor, now according to the New Testament," and you say we're a New Testament church, we're New Testament believers, I'm going to take my 10%. I'm going to feed the hungry. I'm going to clothe the naked. I'm going to help the homeless. He wouldn't like that because it affects his livelihood. And he has to get off his crocus and get out and get a job and work like everybody else. The tithe was for the Levitical priesthood. We don't have a Levitical priesthood. We have a high priest, Yeshua HaMashiach. And he said, "What you've done unto these, you've done what you've done unto the least of these, you've done it unto me." Just as Abraham gave a tenth of all he had to Melchizedek, which was Shem, his Torah teacher, according to the book of Jasher. If Yeshua is our high priest, which I believe that he is, he said, "What you've done to the least of me, you've done unto me." Nowhere does he tell us to take that 10%, put it in an offering plate, so the pastor can sit back and get fat and get lazy. I mean, I could go somewhere with this one. I encourage you. Don't give your 10% or a love offering to a modern day prophet of Baal. Because if they're standing up behind a pulpit and they're not teaching you Torah, and they're not teaching you to obey the commandments, and they're not teaching you the Sabbath or the kosher diet, they are a false prophet, a false teacher. Hello? You be the Yeshua, you be the Jesus, you be the Messiah to the homeless, to the poor, to the hungry, to the sick. Go visit the homeless. Go to the nursing home. Find you a family that is struggling. Help them out financially. See, I saw a post come down earlier today on Facebook. It says that Christianity did not destroy paganism. It adopted it. Enough said on that. Man, I was just ranting today, this evening. It's time to get serious with the Father. It's time to get serious and to do what's right in His eyes. Be blessed and shalom.